Hello, hello, wonderful YouTubers. Anders here. And today you and I will uncover the number one lie about the law of attraction and why it didn't work for you if you just watched The Secret. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you. For those of you who don't know, I was working with Bob Proctor, who was widely considered the number one law of attraction expert in the world. He and I became really good friends. We worked together for 5 years, and this concept of the law of attraction is really misunderstood. There's tons of videos about the concept, especially here on YouTube, which, in my opinion, with many folks who sort of just regurgitate, information what others are saying, and it doesn't help, of course, because it's not always that we get into a whole lot of depth. We certainly didn't in The Secret. So today you will understand a relatively simple concept that is not so easy to apply. You will receive ancient old insight and wisdom, and you can apply that and make it current and effective and applicable in your life right now with the tools that you also will be receiving today. And yes, I'm going to include some magic along the way to help inspire, educate, and empower you to put these concepts to work in your own life, and most importantly, to get results with. So if you're ready, let me know that you are, and let's get started. If you're here live, I appreciate you. If you watch this recording, I appreciate you too for digging into a concept that fundamentally can change your life. So as we get going, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this with friends and family that you believe would benefit from it as well. So the very basic foundation around the law of attraction is that we don't get what we want. In The Secret, we were told just to have a vision board, just visualize what you want. And what we really didn't get into a whole lot of detail about in that movie is the fact that your mind functions on two planes, something we'll get much deeper into here in a little bit, so that you get that understanding of how those two parts of the mind works in conjunction with each other. But when we start applying this concept and we start really understanding it, and with the tools that you will also receive today, apply it, you'll start to experience what, for lack of a better word or words, could be called real magic. That's what my company name is. But it truly does feel like real magic, because these serendipitous moments starts to happen in your life. Resources pop into your existence from, seemingly out of the blue, and all these synchronicities starts to happen. Well, there's actually evidence. There's science here. A quantum physicist would call the concept entanglement. We're all energetic beings. We moved into the body. We're going to move out of them again eventually. And so we get really happy when somebody moves into the body and get really sad when somebody moves out. It's just a transition, right? But that's a different concept for a different video for a different day. So what we have to realize is that we're energetic beings, and we can actually, by the way of our thought patterns, influence our entire physical structure to be a magnet for what we want. And since energy is omnipresent, you could attract resources from the other side of the planet with these concepts, but we have to get beyond just visualizing, just thinking positively. That is not where it happens. And for a long time, I've wrestled with that idea of entanglement. How can you illustrate it? Good quantum physicist Fred Alan Wolf, that I had the great pleasure of meeting once on a cruise ship, actually, that I was performing on. He and I got talking, and he said, Anders, reality is much like a magic show. It does not happen unless there is an observer there. There's a person there to interact. It's not an objective reality out there. It's a subjective reality. And you are connected to everything. That also means, and this is a hard thing to wrap your head around, you don't get anything. You just become aware of what you already have. But for a long time, I tried to play around with that idea of entanglement. How could I illustrate that through an illusion? How could I bring two people up and just have them feel each other at a distance? And so I played around with the idea long enough, and I finally made it work, because this is how it plays out in real life. It's good for you with these illustrations that I use illusions for, because it gives you visual concepts, and we need pictures to have a complete understanding. That is fundamental in all of this. We think in pictures, so that's why illusions are really effective. So I'm going to share with you now a video first about how this looks like, between two people, and then I'm going to help you understand more about the primary laws of the universe, not the secondary law, the law of attraction. That's secondary. We need to go beyond that. We're going to go deep into the study today for you to get a deeper understanding. You'll receive tangible tools. And yes, I will also add another illusion to it before we get to the end. Okay, so enjoy this video that shows the entanglement concept between two people. And let me know what you think. Awesome. Miss Ashley, hi, nice to meet you. You can just come right over here. And Mr. Hyro. Yeah. You stand right over here, please. Just a little further apart. And yeah, a little further. Hyro, right over there, please. Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna ask you to face each other, face this way. And Ashley and Hyro, I'm gonna ask you to hold out your right arm and hand like this, just parallel to the floor. Perfect. Ashley, I'm gonna ask you to just relax completely. Just, no, just keep holding that, but just relax completely otherwise. Just really just close your eyes and just take a deep breath. Pretending you're home in your living room. In a moment, Ashley, you're gonna feel some slight sensations on your body. They might feel like a tap of the finger, or they might feel like static electricity, or it can be a combination of both. All right, Ashley? So it's your job to keep track on where they happen and how many times, and the order. All right? Ashley, yes or no, did you feel anything at all? Where on your body did you feel something the first time? How many times? Twice. You're doing great, Ashley. Thank you very much. Did you feel anything else?
Yeah, my
Perfect. Anything else, Ashley?
my right.
Right hand, how many times? You're doing great. Fantastic. You can open your eyes. You can both relax your arms. So for you, you did great. You did great, Ashley. For you, nothing extraordinary happened, right? You felt some slight sensations. Not a big deal. But the truth is, I never touched you. I touched Hyro. Now that came out wrong, but I did. I touched his shoulder, I touched his nose, I touched his hand twice, yet you felt the imprint. True? You have it on the live stream. You did a great job. Thank you very much, Ashley. Hyro, thank you very much. Give them a big round of applause. Thank you very much, guys. That illustrates the concept pretty effectively, doesn't it? You affect the world around you all day long through your energy frequency. So now we're going to go a little deeper into this, and we're going to dig into the primary laws of the universe. There's an orderly process to how everything works in this universe that we are part of, and we have to understand we're programmed to work against these laws in many ways. We're not programmed to work in harmony with them. So there's 7 primary laws, and these were actually first talked about, hold on to this, 36,000 years before Christ. That's a long time ago. The ancient Greeks, the ancient Egyptians all used these principles. So why is it that we seem to struggle with it today? Most people do, because just look at their results. It's pretty obvious they do. They're programmed against the way they work, and we can change that. We can change our mental processes, our emotional states, and everything in our life starts to shift. So there's seven primary laws, and the first one is that it depends, in the ancient materials that I'll share a little bit from, they call it they talk about the transmutation, the perpetual transmutation, as it is a mental universe. So the idea is that the energy we are surrounded by corresponds to our primary way of thinking. You could also say that everything is just energy. It transmutes to physical form back to an energetic state, depending on how we think. But that's the first law of the universe. The second law is the law of cause and effect. There's an unseen cause behind every effect. There's the law of vibration. That's the one we're going to work a little more with today, and you'll receive some tangible tools that will help you. The law of relativity. Everything is relative to something else. Nothing is definite. somebody will say, well, that's a big goal compared to what? Or that's really expensive compared to what? You always have to relate it to something else. And so most people use that law against themselves. We'll do another video another day about these primary laws, but I want to highlight them now and really hone in on the primary law of vibration. Then we have the law of polarity. Everything has a polar opposite. There's two sides to everything. You couldn't have one without the other, right? When was the last time you saw a one-sided house? It couldn't exist. It's kind of crazy to even think about. So why is it that we always log on to the problem instead of inviting ourselves to focus on the solution long enough? Because they're not two different things. They're two different sides of the same thing. Then we have the law of rhythm. There's a biorhythm in us, in nature, in the stock market, in everything. And there's an ebb and a flow. And the last law is the law of gender, which decrees that you have to have the masculine and the feminine present for anything to become anything. Now, we're going to go deeper into these laws and all of the laws on a different day. But today, we're going to really focus on the law of vibration. And I'm going to share with you an illusion here in a little bit that will just highlight the importance of staying connected and the importance of staying connected in the right vibration with your goals. So if you want to go deeper into these laws, I can recommend a book called The Kabbalion. That is a really heavy piece of work. So I'm going to highlight some stuff here. I'm going to read this to you. Really pay attention. From the chapter, this is a book that was written back in 1908, and it explores Hermetic philosophy and principles. It was actually derived back from the ancient alchemists. They used this. And alchemy, we thought of, or now we think that it was a practice of turning lead into gold, but it had everything to do with mental transmutation. The ancient alchemists, they practiced mental transmutation, actually causing a shift on an energetic level so that they changed what was on the physical. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about in your life. Did you know that the word laboratory, the ancient alchemical laboratory, a laboratory, two words, labor and oratory. Labor is the physical aspect of the work. Oratory actually means a prayer room. So a laboratorium is a prayer room that caused something on the physical to shift. Interesting thought, isn't it? So lean in here. Every thought, emotion, or mental state has its corresponding rate and mode of vibration. And by an effort of the will of the person or of the persons, these mental states may be reproduced, just as a musical tone may be reproduced by causing an instrument to vibrate at a certain rate, just as color may be reproduced in the same way. By a knowledge of the principle of vibration as applied to mental phenomena, one may polarize his mind at any degree he wishes, thus gaining a perfect control over his mental states, moods, etc. In the same way, he may affect the moods and minds of others, producing the desired mental states in them. That actually means that, yes, you are affecting the world around you and people's mental states. You have to be careful with what you think. In short, he may be able to produce on the mental plane that which science produces on the physical plane, namely vibrations at will. In a minute, I'm going to illustrate how this works. This power, of course, may be acquired only by the proper instruction, exercise, practice, etc. The science being that of mental transmutation, one of the branches of the Hermetic art. This is so good. Like, you can transmute energy, and that's what we talk a lot about. Manifestation. Manifestation is just a transmutation of energy. It's energy that moves from a higher plane to a lower plane, from a mental and idea plane to the lower. So let's get a little deeper into this. Let's illustrate this concept here with a diagram that changed my life when I saw it the first time, and it will definitely change yours if it's the first time you see it. It was introduced to me by my good friend Bob Proctor, and he started drawing this on a napkin the first time we met. And he said, Anders, the big circle is the mind, the small circle is the body. And the mind is divided into two parts. You have the conscious mind, the intellectual mind, the subconscious mind, emotional mind, and the body down here. So subjective, emotions, conscious, intellect. So we're talking about the will here. We're talking about the ability to govern your mental state. And now you have a negative pole, you have a positive pole. There's a law of polarity again, so these laws, these concepts, they blend together. You cannot remove them from each other. They're not isolated. All right. but you actually have the power of choice, free will to choose on a conscious level. So nobody can force you to think of concepts that you don't want to think. That's really important. So as you hold your mind, and it's said it takes about 20 seconds for you to hold your mind, your conscious mind, on a mental image of something that you want in order for that image to become an emotion here. Now, we have the choice. Nobody is causing you to feel a certain way without your permission. Nobody or nothing can do that without your permission. And so many people will say, well, he or she made me feel this or that. They didn't. You allowed it because you haven't trained your attention. I don't believe in too much ADHD either. I think we have an attention deficit. I don't think we have that much of an attention deficit, because the better I become at setting intentions with this part of my mind, the more attention follows. Let me know in the chat if this resonates. The more we start creating intentions for our life, the more attention follows that intention. And so let's assume now you have that mental image of what you want. Back in The Secret, just think of what you want, have a vision board. Well, that's not enough. That's the first step in the process. Now you have to do it often enough, and about 20 seconds, for that image to translate to an emotion in your emotional mind. Now something magical happens. Now the law of vibration is working, or you're working with the concept of the law of vibration, because the beautiful thing here is that you can, by choice, on a conscious level, dictate the frequency that the physical instrument is in that you live in. And so as you do that, the frequency here changes. You start feeling different. And so the word feeling is, the word we use to describe our conscious awareness of the emotional state and the vibration we're in. Now, something powerful happens, because that emotional state is causing you to act. Now, writing R here for results. It's causing you to act in a certain way. If you're in a positive, upbeat, powerful vibration, you act in harmony with that vibration. You act on opportunities and possibilities. If you're in a frustrated, angry, fearful vibration, guess what you're going to be acting on? Are you going to be acting on opportunity? No, you're going to limit your worldview, narrow in your consciousness, and you're only going to see the challenges. So, we can really get good at this, and you will receive some tools in a minute. I'll illustrate it with an illusion of how you can shift that and how it feels like when you shift that knot in the stomach to something much more positive. But as you do, literally everything starts to shift. That's how I went from living on tips, performing magic for tips, literally, to producing and performing multi-million-dollar production shows on cruise ships. A year later, 1 year, to working with the best in the world in personal development. These were all decisions made on a conscious level. I ignored the thing on the door, an eviction notice on the door saying if you haven't paid your rent within the next 30 days, you're out. I ignored the blood test that said I was really in bad shape physically. And I ignored a lot of things on the physical, because I started becoming governed by my mental tools and my inner world instead. And that's what you want to do. You want to get so much better at this, not just controlling those thought patterns on a conscious level. You want to get really good at controlling your emotions. Nobody can force you to think stuff up that you didn't choose, like I said. And let's grab another excerpt here. This is really, really good. One may change his mental vibrations by an effort of will in the direction of deliberately fixing the attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs the attention, and attention changes the vibration. Cultivate the art of attention by means of the will, and you have solved the secret of the mastery of moods and mental states. The secret. I mean, this is so really relatively simple, and it is just not easy to apply, is it? Why is it that so many people struggle with this? They do because they are ignorant. First of all, they're ignorant as to how these laws work, but then they don't have the discipline to actually follow through. And the tools that you'll receive today, once you use them, will change everything for you. So my question to you is, how often do you let circumstances outside of you dictate the way you feel or control you? You see, let them control you. Let is the key word. You let it happen. No one does it to you. I don't care what happened and how bad it is. You decide. And is that something I work on every day too? Absolutely it is. But I'm becoming much better at it than I used to be. And that's pretty evident in my results. They don't happen by accident. So, if negativity controls you, if you haven't forgiven, if you haven't released it out of your system, whatever it is, it's like drinking poison and hoping the other person suffers. It's pretty silly. And that's where a lot of people live. So what we have to learn is to shift our emotional state. And Wallace Wattles, who wrote that classic book, The Science of Getting Rich, he writes, the whole process of mental adjustment and atonement, and that's what we want to do, you and I, we want to control and deliberately adjust our mental attitudes and our emotional states. The whole process, he said, can be summed up in one word: gratitude. First, you believe that there's one intelligent substance from which all things proceed. That's the first prerequisite. You have to accept that idea. It can seem like it comes from many different angles, and it probably does, but it all comes from one source of supply: transmutation, back to the mental universe, back to the first primary law. Secondly, you believe that this substance gives you everything you desire. Where are resources, my friend? Are they outside? Do you look to the outside physical world for resources? Or are you looking to the world within, to your God within? Because you're connected to everything there is. God, universe, call it what you want. But it's the same concept. And thirdly, you relate yourself to that source through a feeling of deep and profound gratitude. Now, you can't just intellectualize this. This is not like yoga where I know what yoga is. I know I have to, do certain things with my body, and I know what it is. Yoga is an experience. It's a union of mind and body. It's the same with this. Gratitude, you can grasp it. We have thousands of people in our community today. Many of them practice this the right way, but there's some that also make it an intellectual exercise. It is not an intellectual exercise. You have to go from exercise to experience. From exercise to experience. Once you make it an experience in your system, everything shifts. You become, you cannot be angry, fearful, doubtful, and really grateful at the same time. It's either or. But they're all just different places on the same scale. You can always get more grateful. And, this is an interesting thing. Let me illustrate this. I promised to illustrate some of this with an illusion. Here we have a handkerchief, and here is a knot. You will see that's a pretty stark knot. And maybe that's the knot in your stomach right now. Maybe that's what's holding you back. It's the knot right there and it doesn't feel good. You have regardless of the situation, the capacity, the mental opportunity to shift that, to remove that knot. How do you remove it? Switch to gratitude, write it out, feel it, verbalize it, because any word is a vibration, and you get rid of the knot. That's pretty neat, isn't it? Now, it might not be long before another one appears. There's always reasons to be upset. There's always reasons for something outside of us to control us, right? Yeah. Same mental move. Sit down, do some deep breathing, find profound gratitude for the fact that you're alive right now. 1 to 400 trillion are the odds. Snap, gratitude, and that little pesky knot here is gone. And I promise you, my friend, that will lead you to a whole lot more happiness, higher vibrations, and most of all, better results. All right, so let's take another look here in this great book, The Kabbalion. It's amazing. In here it says, as one of the old Hermetic writers has truly said, he who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power. He who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power. Well, do we really grasp it, or do we understand it? Your results will clearly indicate whether or not you understand this. I have people all the time come to me and say, Anders, I've seen The Secret. I know everything about the law of attraction. One reason you could take a certificate in the law of attraction. It's so ridiculous, in my opinion. And yet, there's so many people struggling. Why? If they really understood it, they wouldn't be struggling. It would be an easy breezy approach. Of course, there'll be challenges, but you don't get caught up in it. My life just keeps getting better and better and better, and less friction, but not by accident. When I look back to where I started, broke, sick, and unhappy, in a new country without nothing but 2 suitcases and a deck of cards. Today, I own a global multi-million-dollar company. I'm happy as can be. I'm healthy. My family is healthy. I mean, everything has shifted. I know it's not an accident. This was one of the tools that really helped me do it. I was an unconscious competent for many, many years. But the more conscious I became and adopting these ideas, the better my results got, and yours will too. So today, I'll encourage you to download, or actually just click, because there's just 2 links in the caption. There's one for in Danish, one in English, for our very, very powerful gratitude meditation, where I teach you through a process that instantly shifts your vibration. Use that. Use it on. Don't just use it once. No, it didn't work. You have to. This is a muscle. When did you go to the gym once and expected great muscles to appear? And you're like, whoa, it didn't happen. And of course it didn't. It's a gradual process. It's the same with this. You're training your mental muscles. This takes time. So don't look to the physical right away for evidence. Look to the unseen instead, and feel better in the process. The more you're feeling is that conscious awareness of vibration. Every day you can gauge how you feel. It's not a complicated concept. And then I promise you, we're going to get deeper into the laws, into all the laws here soon on my channel. But today, your homework is to bring yourself in harmony with your source of supply. And you do that through a profound feeling of gratitude. I have linked to 2 meditations here, one in Danish, one in English. They're very powerful. I think the Danish has over 16,000 views, and it hasn't been up that long. So a lot of people use it on a daily basis as a tool to just anchor in their vibration. And we have quantum leap results in our community all the time, not by accident. These people understand the primary law of vibration, and they understand that the secret was, yes, pretty shallow. Great movie, inspirational for sure, but extremely shallow. I hope that this has helped you understand the concept just a little bit better. So thank you for watching this video. I have linked to more videos here afterwards that I think you would like. And until next time, remember, it's not who you are that holds you back. What's holding most people back in their life are all these illusions, these pesky illusions of who we think we're not. It's not who we are. There's infinite potential within you, my friend. It's all the illusions of who we think we're not that's holding us back. All right? Until next time, this is Anders Hansen. Bye for now.